Welcome to Headstones and Microphones, where we use AI to step into the past through a researched, first-person simulation of history's most interesting people. I am your host, Calvin. While we've added some creative storytelling, our goal is to inspire your own study of these fascinating lives. Now, let's meet our guest. Oh man, do we have a legend in the studio today. This person absolutely redefined rock and roll, brought the house down at Woodstock, and had a voice that could shake the rafters and break your heart, all at the same time. Please welcome the one, the only, Janis Joplin. Janis, it is an absolute thrill to have you here.
Hello, doll. Thank you so much for having me.
We are overjoyed to have you. For those who may somehow not know who you are, who are you?
Well, if you don't know, I am Janis Joplin, just a girl from Texas who found out she had a whole lot of fire inside her and decided to sing the blues like her life depended on it. Because honestly, it kind of did.
It sure did, and the world was never the same. Let's start at the very beginning. When and where were you born?
I was born on January 19th, 1943, right in the middle of wartime, in a town called Port Arthur, Texas.
And what was your given name at birth?
My parents named me Janis Lynn Joplin.
Is there a story behind your birth name?
You know, there wasn't a big dramatic saga behind it. My parents, Seth and Dorothy, just liked the name Janis. I was the eldest of 3 children, so I think they were just excited to start their family and picked something that sounded pretty to them.
Fair enough. What was your hometown like growing up?
Oh, Port Arthur was a very conservative, traditional southern oil refinery town. It was all about conformity, fitting into a neat little box and keeping up appearances. For a girl like me who wanted to paint, scream, and live out loud, it felt pretty suffocating at times. It just wasn't really built for outsiders.
I can imagine. What was your family life like?
My home life was actually pretty respectable and middle class. My daddy was an engineer and my mama was a Sunday school teacher. But what was really neat about them is that they demanded respect from us, but they gave it right back. They let us kids choose our own mealtime menus from a kitchen that always smelled like wonderful Southern cooking, and they valued our opinions. My sister Laura and my brother Michael and I would have these great family dinner conversations. I used to love reading books to Laura when she was little, like Alice in Wonderland. We had some really special time.
That sounds incredibly sweet. What kind of kid were you?
Early on, I was remembered as a bright, pretty, and very artistic little girl. But by the time junior high and high school rolled around, that streak of rebellion started showing. I became a total tomboy, had a massive vocabulary of colorful words, wore outrageous clothes, and had really strong opinions. I was definitely a misfit.
A proud misfit. What were your biggest fears growing up?
My biggest fear was just the terrifying thought of being ordinary and trapped in a life where I couldn't express myself. I was terrified of being forced to fit into that proper small-town Texas mold where you couldn't breathe or be different.
What did you dream of becoming as a child?
Because my parents nurtured my creative side early on, I actually dreamed of being an artist or a painter. I loved colors and expressing myself visually way before I ever realized I could belt out a tune.
What were some of your favorite activities in school?
Oh, school itself was rough because I was bullied a lot for my appearance and my beatnik style. But I took total solace in art class, painting, and writing poetry. Outside of class, my favorite thing was hanging out with a small group of high school beatniks. We'd read Jack Kerouac and roam around the night spots from Port Arthur all the way to New Orleans, just soaking up Cajun, country, jazz, and blues music.
That sounds like a proper musical education right there. What was your first job?
Oh, before the music took off, I worked as a waitress for a bit to make some money. Let's just say taking orders and carrying trays wasn't exactly my true calling, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
Absolutely. Was there a moment where you realized you were different from everyone else?
It really hit me in high school when I realized I couldn't just quietly fall in line with the religious and social conservatism around me. While other girls were getting ready for school dances, I was listening to Odetta, Leadbelly, and Big Mama Thornton records, trying to mimic those raw, powerful sounds. I realized I didn't want the white picket fence life.
What's a decision that changed everything for you but felt small at the time?
In 1962, I went off to the University of Texas at Austin to study art, and I started singing at these casual campus gatherings and at a place called Threadgills, which was a gas station turned into a bar. I was just singing folk and blues with some friends called the Waller Creek Boys. It felt like just a fun hobby at the time. But the reaction from the crowd made me realize my voice had a power that startled people. That shifted everything.
What was your biggest break?
Oh, without a doubt, the Monterey Pop Festival in 1967. I had joined Big Brother and the Holding Company, and when we got on that stage, I just emptied my guts into the microphone singing Ball and Chain. The audience was completely stunned, and we walked off that stage as a national sensation.
That performance is legendary. What were your biggest struggles before success?
Rejection and isolation, man. In high school and college, I was ostracized terribly. I mean, in 1963, some folks at the university even voted me the ugliest man on campus as a cruel joke. It was humiliating, and it left deep wounds. I also struggled heavily with the excesses of the drug scene when I first hitchhiked out to San Francisco, and I actually had to go back home to Texas for a while to pull myself together and live a straight life before trying again.
That is incredibly heavy, but you fought through it. Did you ever consider quitting?
When I returned to Texas from San Francisco that first time, rail thin and broken, I really tried to quit the wildlife. I enrolled as a sociology student at Lamar University, got a beehive hairdo, and tried to do the conventional thing. But the music just kept pulling me back. I couldn't stay away.
Were there any specific daily habits or routines that you feel are essential to your success?
For me, it was all about listening and mimicking. I didn't read music, so my routine was putting on Bessie Smith or Otis Redding records and practicing how to rough up my sound, how to make it raw, and how to project that heat and sexual energy onto a stage. It was pure emotional practice.
What job would you have had if fame never happened?
I probably would have ended up working in art design or maybe as a sociologist, since I went to school for both. But I think I always would have been painting or singing in some little local dive bar on the weekends.
What was your life like before fame?
It was a lot of hitchhiking, living a bohemian lifestyle, drinking Southern Comfort, singing for free or for pennies at folk sings, and just searching for a place where a misfit like me could feel loved and accepted.
How did relationships change after success?
Success makes things complicated. On stage, I was opening up my soul to thousands of people, and there was this beautiful, unique connection, especially with the women in the audience who felt I was singing for them. But offstage, it could get incredibly lonely. You crave stability and love, but people often want the wild persona, not the real you.
Did fame bring happiness?
It brought an incredible rush and a sense of validation that the girl who was mocked in Texas was now being compared to Aretha Franklin. It gave me a purpose. But fame itself doesn't fill the quiet, lonely spaces inside you when the show is over.
What was the downside of becoming famous?
The press could be really tough, especially the boys' club of music critics. When I decided to leave Big Brother and the Holding Company to go solo because I wanted to explore new sounds with the Cosmic Blues Band, they raked me over the coals. They claimed I was selling out. Plus, the media would constantly focus on my physical appearance and body parts in a way they never did with male rock stars.
What misconceptions did people have about you?
People thought that because I was wild, raucous, and wore granny glasses and extravagant, frizzed-out hippie clothes on stage, I was completely fearless and bulletproof. They didn't see how fragile and naive I actually could be offstage.
What was your darkest moment?
Probably those times between tours when the applause stopped and I'd return to heavy drinking or substances to fill the void. Fighting through the criticism of my solo career while desperately longing for a stable, loving relationship was a heavy burden to carry.
What past regrets did you carry that you spoke about?
I always carried the regret that I couldn't easily find a balance between the wild queen of rock persona and just being a regular girl who could have a quiet, stable home life. I talked a lot about the loneliness that comes with the territory.
What's something people misunderstood about your life?
People thought my onstage energy was just a theatrical act, but it was entirely authentic. I was literally emptying my guts out there, touching the audience through pure, raw emotion.
Tell me about a time when everything went wrong and how did you handle it?
When we played Woodstock in 1969, the backstage wait was massive. And by the time I got on stage, things were pretty chaotic, and the performance was a real struggle for me. But you just handle it with pure grit. You scream louder, you push harder, and you give the people everything you've got left.
Did fame and fortune change your life?
Oh, absolutely. It took me from hitchhiking to riding around in a custom psych rock painted Porsche. It gave me total creative freedom, even if it came with a lot of pressure.
What personal battles were you fighting privately?
I was constantly battling that deep down insecurity left over from childhood, trying to prove that I was worthy of love while fighting the temptations of addiction.
Who had the biggest influence on your life?
Musically, Bessie Smith and Otis Redding. Bessie taught me about sexual longing and betrayal in music, and seeing Otis live at the Fillmore in 1966 completely transformed how I commanded a stage.
What was life like in your final years?
It was incredibly fast-paced and turbulent, but musically fulfilling. I was working with a great new group, the Full Tilt Boogie Band, and we were feeling a lot of joy in the studio.
What were you working on in your career before you passed away?
We were in Los Angeles recording the Pearl album. I was so excited about it because the tracks, like Me and Bobby McGee and Mercedes-Benz, were exactly the sound I had been looking for.
When and where and how did you pass away, and how old were you?
I passed away on October 4th, 1970, at the Landmark Motor Hotel in Los Angeles from an accidental heroin overdose. I was only 27 years old.
A tragic loss for the world. Let's lighten it up a bit. What's a random fact about you most people have never heard?
Well, I raved about my love for Southern Comfort so much during interviews and on stage that the company actually gave me $2,500 for all the free publicity.
That is amazing. What's the craziest rumor ever told about you?
Back in high school and early on, because I carried myself in such a crude, nonconformist way and hung out with the beatniks, there were tons of tasteless rumors about my sexuality and lifestyle. People just couldn't handle a girl who didn't care about their rules.
What was your most unique habit?
Probably my wild, hippie, burlesque fashion sense. Pinning feathers in my hair, wearing piles of bracelets, granny glasses, and completely frizzing out my hair. I loved to look like a walking piece of art.
What was your favorite food?
I absolutely loved traditional Southern cooking. Anything hearty, home-cooked, and rich with flavor, just like the meals my family used to make back in Texas.
What advice would you give people chasing success?
Honey, don't compromise yourself. You are all you've got. Sing your own song, live your own truth, and don't let anybody turn you into a version of yourself that fits their neat little box.
Janis, before we sign off, do you have any closing remarks about this interview or the stories you shared that you would like to share with our listeners?
Oh, Calvin, I just want to tell everybody listening out there to cherish the people who love you for exactly who you are. Don't be afraid to be a misfit, because the misfits are the ones who change the world. Thank you so much for letting me sit down, yell a little bit, and share my heart with you today. This has been absolutely beautiful.
Thank you, Janis. Wow, what an incredible journey through the life of a true rock pioneer. From the small-town struggles in Texas to the roaring stages of Monterey and Woodstock, Janis Joplin showed us all what it means to live and sing with absolute authenticity. And that wraps up another conversation from Beyond the Grave. Thanks for joining us on the Headstones and Microphones podcast. Remember, legends may die, but their stories never do. Please help spread the word by sharing and following the pod.